the famous song called Ma'oz Tzur. Everyone sings it. Sephardim, Ashkenazim, everybody. So in that liturgy of Ma'oz Tzur, in the paragraph talking about the Hanukkah miracle, which begins Yevanim nikbetzu alai, it says there like this: Uminotar kankanim, which translates literally as, and from the leftover oil which was left in the jugs, the jugs that were found after the Hashmonaim were able to defeat and kick out the Greeks from the Holy Temple. Uminotar kankanim, from the leftover oil, little bit of oil. It's called notar, leftover, because everything else was made impure in the temple. So this was like the last resort. They found a sealed jug of pure olive oil fit for the menorah. So it's called notar in that sense, that's what was left over. That's what they found. It was a miracle that they just even found it. From the notar kankanim, nasa nes la shoshanim, was made the miracle for the roses. Shoshanim is roses, a reference for the Jewish people. They're called a rose. Keshoshana ben achochim, the Jews, when suffering in exile, are compared to a rose which sprouts amongst thorns. The thorns is the decrees and the difficulties that the Jews experience in exile by the nations who are against Am Yisrael fulfilling the Torah, etc. So they're called like a rose amongst thorns. So from the leftover oil found was made a miracle for the roses. This is the literal translation. On a deeper level, we can understand it like this: that the Shoshanim refers to also the Tzaddikim, because the elite of the Jewish people obviously are the Tzaddikim. And it's not that they're born like that, but the Tzaddikim, they worked very hard, struggled and toiled and succeeded in breaking their Yetzer Hara, subduing their evil desires and traits until they're fit to the title to become a Tzaddik. They also went through thorns and being hurt and beaten and persecuted, whatever, but they rose to flourish like a rose. Even though every Jew is as a rose, but when you come to collect the roses, you have nicer roses and less nicer roses. So amongst the roses, the choicest ones are the tzaddikim. And this verse from the lyric, the words of Ma'oz Tzur, can be read like this: Notar means the leftover, a reference to the Jews who are considered leftovers, the Jews who are wasted, the Jews who are so far from any trace of Judaism, of Torah observance, and even if they have some connection, but they're so blemished by other bad deeds that they're considered notar, like leftovers, nothing of true value and importance because of their bad deeds. So it's telling us here, now before Mashiach comes, minotar kankanim, from the leftover Jews of the kankanim. The kankanim is the vessels. In other words, whatever the small people are trying to do, specifically that will bring the miracle. Nasa nes. The word nes means a miracle. Nes also means a tall pole, which is noticeable. Like you put a big pole, you stand a big pole on a high mountain, it's noticeable everywhere. Nasa nes la shoshanim, that the pride and glory of the tzaddikim is revealed specifically from the nobodies, the people who are low lives, the people who are so far. This will bring the revelation, the pride of the tzaddikim. In other words, that it's not specifically only the tzaddikim who are going to bring the final redemption. It's the tzaddikim using through the people who are leftovers, who are far, who are broken, who are blemished, but having this connection of faith in these tzaddikim, minotar kankanim, nasanes, this brings out the pride and glory of the tzaddikim, also brings out the miracle which we're waiting for of the coming of Mashiach. Coming of Mashiach will also be a miracle. It's not just like a natural event. It's going to be something supernatural, the revelation of Mashiach B'ezrat Hashem. And it comes about through who specifically? The notar. which goes against the rationale of the average person, the average Jew, who thinks only the big tzaddikim are the ones who are davening for us and they're going to bring Mashiach and everything. Here it's telling us that you too are part of the picture, and you are not just part of the picture, you are a major part of the picture. It's only through you that you feel like you're a notar, a leftover. Through you specifically will be brought the final redemption, will be the pride and glory of the tzaddikim, through specifically you. And without you, they cannot do this job. This is one of the main messages of Chanukah, which is hinted to in Mamloez, that specifically it's the far Jews that are going to be the key for bringing Mashiach, which explains also our situation today, which was unheard of. Even at the time of the destruction of the first temple and the second temple, even at times when Jews were going through a low, we never had a low tide like this period in Jewish history, where the majority of Jews are almost totally assimilated, have no connection almost whatsoever with any Jewish identity. Even if they do, they're so sunken and trapped in addictions and in bad actions and bad tendencies, etc. We've never been, quote unquote, so low, but it's specifically through this lowliness that will come the Mashiach. Specifically those Jews who are so low and yet manage to have some connection to follow advice of the Shoshanim, of the Tzaddikim, that will be done, the miracle B'ezrat Hashem, to bring the third temple very soon in our days. Amen.